Hey look, there is this new figure going on pre-order by a brand I've never seen before, a new brand, and because of that I don't trust this figure brand at all. I'm gonna wait until after release and then check out user pictures on myfigurecollection.net before buying one. Yeah, because figure brands, they lie to us in their product pictures, right? Their official pics are not trustworthy. Yeah, what if I told you user pictures are also not trustworthy? Hi and welcome back to the channel. Steven right here today with a video where I think what I'm about to demonstrate and show you guys today could be quite a revelation to some of you collecting anime figures. Like, this is a very common advice. Even I myself am guilty of saying such things where when I do figure news videos and then I say pre-order this, don't pre-order that, but I mean, if you want to be safe, you don't want to accidentally waste $250 on a piece of junk figure because the figure company did not deliver as promised, don't pre-order it, wait until after release, check out user pictures before buying. That is a very common advice, not just from me, but from many figure collectors regardless of their level of experience in this hobby, right? This is in general a sound advice because the possibility of a figure company lying to us, which has happened a lot of times, but what you guys need to understand is that when figure company does lie to us, it is not that they edited the image of their figure photos very heavily. Like, if you assume they did a lot of Photoshop on their product pictures just to show us an ideal scenario of what the figure looks like, no, that is not the case. They don't really heavily edit their figures, right? For example, they only have maybe 3 or 5 units of that figure. It is not yet mass produced, and because they have so few of them, yeah, they take good care of it and they try to do everything to perfection. Like, make sure the figure is 100 perfect both in sculpting and painting before proceeding to take photos of it. So you get this scenario where, oh, these product pictures look amazing, and then when the final figure comes out, it looks like crap. And then when the figure does come out, you see comments like, this figure's face is terrible. The face is so derpy. It did not turn out as I expected. I am not going to buy it. And that is after they look at user pictures on myfigurecollection.net or elsewhere in any other social media website, right? But what you guys need to be aware of is that these user pictures are not necessarily accurate. No, not because of the user heavily edited the photo, but it is because the user used their smartphones to take photos of their figures and they take it very close up like that. Like, I'm going to shoot this figure, I shoot it very closely like this just to show you a close up view of the figure, and this is where things go really wrong. Like, the figure does not look very right. Sometimes the face looks a bit weird, and then just based on this user picture, you say this figure is not for me, the figure brand messed up the face, but that is not really the case. So why are figure pictures taken with smartphones inaccurate? There is a very complex reason, but I'm trying to give you guys examples over here. Now, I have 2 cameras filming me actually. As you can see, the main camera over here, this is about 40mm equivalent in focal length. This camera right here, I mean, look at how I look on this camera lens over here. It looks really goofy, right? Oh, my arms are really long over here. Yeah, so the thing with smartphone cameras is that what is being added to a smartphone is more similar to this camera right here. Yeah, it is a wide angle lens. And using wide angle lens to photograph your figures is a really bad idea, especially when you are doing figure reviews, for example, right? And you get up close like this, you're doing figure reviews, you're going to give people the wrong impression of the figure. And people will decide based on that. That is not good, right? Okay, before we move on to my actual examples where I have brought out 4 figures over here, I'm going to show you guys a few practical examples of this wide angle look over here. If you go to Instagram, Facebook, or anywhere else on social media, I'll see all the girls when they take selfies, they take it from an upper right angle like this, right? From this angle. The reason is because that wide angle lens on their front camera will stretch their face. It will make their chin look longer and slimmer, sharper. Oh, that pretty boy band, girl band K-pop group look, right? Yeah, it makes them look more flattering. The opposite, If you were to take a selfie from below like this, yeah, you're gonna get a big chin, double chin, and it looks terrible. Like, this is one of the main no-nos in selfies. Another example would be, yeah, some people, they are short, they try to make themselves look tall, so they use a wide angle lens, and it will make their legs look really long, when that is all fake, right? Now we shall move on to actual anime figures over here. For examples, 4 scale figures. I chose these 4 figures because they are the most obvious in my collection when it comes to demonstrating the effect of wide angle lens distortion on your smartphone camera. The first one, I'm going to make use of this Yuzu Inori over here by Good Smile Company. I hate this figure so much because it is way too small. Yeah, this is no way 1/8 scale. This is more like 1/10. But anyways, now I'm going to shoot a picture over here with a smartphone, right? For example, I'm going to shoot a half body shot at this close proximity over here. I take a picture, and then if I were to use a proper camera, I mean more like a suitable lens. It has nothing to do with the camera. It is all about the lens, you see. If I were to take a picture with a macro lens and step back and take a shot, right? This is the difference you are looking at over here. Okay, so the one on the left is from a smartphone. The one on the right is from a macro lens on a dedicated camera. Can you see the difference in the face of this figure? It almost looks like Inori's face is being stretched. You can see the forehead area over here on the top right of the image, or in this case top left of the figure. You can see the forehead being stretched a bit, right? Yeah, it is like the face of the figure. The sculpt looks a bit different compared to what was taken with a suitable lens. Yeah, I have seen plenty of such distorted images over in myfigurecollection.net. Like over 90% of the images uploaded there look like this to a certain extent. And that is not something an average person is able to tell unless they know something about photography or camera lenses in general. In case that Inori one is not obvious enough to you, now let's move on to the second figure over here. This Saber Frankenstein 1/7 scale from FGO by Max Factory over here. I chose this figure because she has a horn on her forehead, you see. So same thing again, smartphone and a dedicated camera with a suitable lens. Here are the results, right? Okay, the one on the left is from the smartphone, the one on the right is from a proper camera. Yeah, this is so obvious, man. The horn on her forehead is a lot longer on the smartphone picture, when it is not that long in person. I mean, if I were to look at this figure with my own eyes over here, it is closer to what I saw on the picture captured on the proper camera, not on the smartphone. The horn isn't that long. This is the distortion effect I was talking about. Yeah, very obvious over here. Moving on to the third example. Okay, this Mayo Hachikuji figure from Monogatari series. I think this is a Ban Presto prize figure. Now, for this figure, I'm going to shoot low angle, right? I turn the figure around, and no, I'm going to shoot very low like this, like bottom up, right? And I'll repeat the same thing with a suitable lens on the camera. Shoot bottom up like this. Here is the result. As you can see, the one taken on the smartphone, her leg looks longer, right? Once again, wide angle lens distortion or stretching. This is pretty much very similar to the real life human example I gave you earlier, where some people, they use wide lenses to make their legs look longer or to make their face look more aesthetically pleasing. And the fourth example, this Ban Presto again, RAM figure. This is a big price figure over here. This is among the most obvious examples I can give you guys. Look at that picture of RAM from the smartphone, man. Her head is so big compared to her body that any uninformed person who based their decision on purchasing the figure or not on this one picture from a smartphone would say things like, oh, that RAM figure is really bad. Bandai messed up this figure. Her head is too big. That is not good at all. I move on and look for other RAM figures. Then he would be really wrong, because RAM looks more like the other picture. Like, the proportions are all correct. I'm going to use a sheet of rag or cloth over here as a demonstration on why and how the picture is being distorted, right? So on a wide angle lens, this is what the picture looks like. There is a bulge in the middle. We call it barrel distortion, right? It is something present in every wide angle lens. So in order to correct this barrel distortion, to remove the distortion over there, smartphone companies, camera companies even, they will apply software correction, digital correction, which was applied onto your photos the moment they were taken. You can't turn it off, right? They will literally try to stretch the four corners of your image to straighten it. Just like what I'm doing to this piece of cloth over here. There is a bulge in the middle, so I try to stretch it to straighten it. So what happens? The head, the forehead of the figure gets stretched and appears bigger. The horn on this figure appears longer. This Mayoi figure over here has longer legs, or Ram has a bigger head because of the stretching going on in the background when you took the image, right? You can't avoid that. That is actually why figures can look weird when they are taken with a smartphone camera. You can't avoid that. Now that you know user pictures are not necessarily trustworthy, what to do next? Like, how do I know for sure the figure's face is right or wrong, right? This is the tricky part, because ideally you'll want to look for figure websites like Japanese figure sites where they review figures every once in a while. They will post high quality images taken with a proper camera, and that is the most accurate way to judge a finished product, a finalized figure. However, it is not easy to look for those reviews because number one, they are in Japanese, like how do you search for it, right? And number two, yeah, some of these websites, they contain stuff that are not suitable for all ages, like Moeyo, for example. Yeah, searching for Japanese websites or dedicated proper figure review websites are the first step to go for. And I think the best way to know for sure whether the figure's face is right or wrong is to have the awareness in the first place. Like, the moment you look at that picture, before you jump to conclusions, you are already telling yourself, this is distortion, wide angle lens distortion. If you have that awareness over there, at least you won't jump to conclusions as you seek out for more user pictures online. Yeah, don't rely on one set of user pictures from one single uploader. Go for multiple pictures by multiple users, right? I think that is a more reliable way to judge a figure's sculpting and face, right? User pictures are not useless, let me tell you that first, because user pictures can tell you a lot about the paint work on the figure, like whether there are any paint bleeding, any painting flaws involved. Yes, user pictures are very helpful for that purpose. But to judge whether a figure's face is done right or not, especially when they are taken at a very close proximity, right? Yeah, they are often a really bad choice. A very bad way to guide yourself on buying anime figures. One more thing to be aware of about user pictures is the white balance of the image. Sometimes the colors are off because of the camera, right? You'll come across scenarios like, oh, this figure, why is the skin so yellow or so bluish or so pinkish? Maybe it is not the figure, it is the light. Yeah. And even expensive cameras like this, they do mess up the color balance as well, not just smartphone cameras. So that is one thing to be aware of. Be careful when you use user pictures to judge, to make a decision to buy or not to buy a figure, right? Be aware of this distortion in the images you're looking at. If you found this video today enlightening or informative, please give this video a like, a thumbs up, and yeah, subscribe to this channel for more anime figure content every week. Until then, I'll see you guys again very soon. Goodbye.